3, 2, 1.
Right, we're gonna call the regular borough board meeting at 7:05. We will have Burgess, Velasquez, lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion on the Board of Mayor and Burgess to approve the regular meeting of April 7, 2026, and the special meetings of April 7, 2026, and April 27, 2026. Each member received copies for review.
All right, do we have any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion on the Board of Mayor and Burgess to approve the monthly reports for April. Each member received copies for review.
Second motion.
Any questions or discussion on the report? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You have something to bring up?
Worry about my fellow Burgess. That me sugar.
I'll stay from under, that's why I was.
All right, so I believe we're gonna have a relatively short meeting tonight. Well, a lot has happened, especially in the legislature over the last several weeks. We've been working on many issues. Things are going well, and I'm sure you in the paper today. 1.4 million extra for the Board of Ed. ECS can use it any way they want, and 400,000 extra for the town, unrestricted. So it's good news. We had some other positive developments, and with our construction projects and state approvals, and we fended off most of the attacks that could have been harmful to the cause. So I would say you had a strong legislative session. Thank you to our legislative delegation, our lobbyists, and everyone who came up there fighting for us in Hartford. We will now go to public comment. Is there anyone in the room or on Zoom that would like to make a public comment? Anyone on Zoom?
No.
Yeah, come on forward, come up to the microphone, state your name and address.
Yes, sir. Mark Solomon, 28 Round Hill Circuit. Recently we had this referendum, and it was kind of sprung on us. Most of us didn't know it was coming until almost the day that it happened, and we were not very well educated. I don't think there was much. We didn't get a robocall. They would come down to a special meeting or hear about how all this was going to work. And for most of us that are not finance experts, we may not have understood how this is going to work and if it really benefits us. And the other part is, with all this Amazon money is coming in, personally, I would have hoped that we could have done something to lower the mill rate a little bit, because it's very high in this town, as you know. And I just think it was sprung on us fast. There wasn't much public notice that we were going to have a referendum, and I would have been in favor of something that would have helped lower the mill rate a little bit. And there's a lot of people in this town, especially older people, having trouble paying their taxes. And I think some of the money should have went towards lowering the mill rate a little bit. So a lot of these projects, some of them are good, some seem kind of excessive, but if we could have found a way to use some of that money to lower the mill rate, I think it would be good.
All right, I'm not going to argue with you because I agree with you that the word did not get out to everyone. But I would like to point out that was talked about 6 public meetings.
Yeah.
Put on social media. The newspaper wrote a story. We did an explanatory text. And when we have even like festivals, like we have a festival this weekend, and we do as much as we can to promote it. I get complaints, so why didn't you tell us about the festival? In today's world, with the newspaper only covering statewide issues, not local issues, social media being directed all thousands of different ways.
Right.
It's very difficult, not on that, but on anything to get the word out. Now, I guarantee you tonight, we're gonna do something very important and no one is gonna know about it. You know why? Because there's no local coverage anymore. So I do agree with you. But I don't want you to think that we don't try and get the word out. But we have talked about that for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months in a row.
Right.
And by the way, it's also, I'm gonna just say, and I'm glad you're here tonight, because it tells me that people are paying attention a little bit, because I don't think we've had anyone even come to public comments in the last 6 months to say anything. So it's like, I welcome public comment, and I'm glad you're here and I agree with you.
Right.
Now, as far as what you said about the mill rate, I'll just explain to you a little bit about what we did. We restructured our bonding and it's sort of like a refinance of your house, okay? So we know we have Amazon money coming in, and we know that our old bond debt goes away. So that in the year 2033, the town is $10 million a year better off than we are today, just on those two items, okay? So the notion here is to do the things that we're doing anyway, using bonding money. So, for example, paving roads, we're gonna pave a lot of roads this year. That's not gonna impact the mill rate. So we're gonna get our roads paved and those things done without impacting the mill rate. And when the payments come due, we're gonna have the new money.
Yeah.
So approximately, $2.5, $3 million of new debt is covered by $10 million in new revenue. So the idea is to move the town forward and benefit, leverage our future and do stuff now in a way that is designed to help the taxpayers. And like from my standpoint, everyone wants services, roads paved, things like that, and no one wants to pay. So everything is a balance. So to me, the referendum is, or I'll say the bond package is a really good balance, because it gets people what they want in a way that doesn't hurt them, in fact, helps them in the short term, and in the long term, it's paid for by future revenues. So I think there's a lot of logic. Now, I agree with you that to get that message, you might have to do a little homework, right? And not everyone is gonna get the message, but it's not because we didn't try. And I'll say this, myself, I'm gonna say every Burgess here, I think, posted it, all their friends, tried to spread the word on social media. The newspaper wrote a story, but I agree that I'm gonna say tons of people had no idea what was going on. And it's a problem for every issue, not just that issue.
Right.
So on the, we've had plenty of you want to call them robocalls from, COVID and when there's a storm coming and something like that. Could that not have been used to?
You can't use it for that. Let's say you're not supposed to. It's that's for emergencies.
Okay.
And by the way, like when we do the explanatory text, it has to be done in a way where you don't advocate it. You just give information. So robocall would not have been appropriate.
Okay.
I'm just thinking about it, because What would you say on a robocall? I mean, you couldn't really explain it
No,
unless.
you can't explain the whole thing, but just to alert people that at whatever meeting last month, month before that, next month, we're gonna be talking about this $25 million package. Come down here when it's all about, well.
So just so you know, we've done that for the last, you look at the minutes, the last 4 or 5 months, you'll see that we did
Yeah,
that.
I know, but we all don't read the minutes, and like you said, there's a lot of media in all different ways, and you don't read the newspaper every day or whatever, hardly read the newspaper, and you know, there's so many different ways that the word gets out, but you know, the one thing that we all have is a phone. I just got a call today from Rosa DeLauro. Do you want to hear about this? You know, you can listen if you want to. I don't know how she gets her money to do that. That's might be a different thing, but like it could be done. So
Yeah, I understand. Well, I don't disagree with you.
yeah.
You want to say something?
I was thinking, our minutes are good minutes. That it's not a fun thing to read, you know, there's no comments in there, but, they have good information. I don't know if everybody knows where they are, but I wonder if there's a way that we could make that a little bit more accessible to the public. So that they could read the minutes and, you know, you gotta read them.
Yeah.
If you're interested, you gotta do it.
Right.
But I also understand that not everybody understands how to work the, you know, the website and stuff.
Well, it's fairly easy. Once you get on the website, you can find all those things. But the point is, you don't know to go and look at something important is coming up because you don't hear about it. And
Okay.
you know, that's the whole thing. Like
Okay,
today, there's so much information, there's so much things to watch out for, there's so much going on.
so maybe just a banner on the town website saying, check out the meetings from this week and find out about blah, blah, blah.
Well, the point is, you still have to
Well, you
go to the
gotta do-
website.
You gotta meet us halfway, but
No, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
like, you have to go to the website. I mean, some people are, I don't know, not interested at all, but some people, a lot of people I talked to, they didn't know anything about it. And I
yeah,
tried to get them to go out and vote and they're like, no,
yeah.
I don't know. So,
No, I get what you're saying.
yeah.
This is borough clerk right here.
Hello.
So I just wanted to tell you, if you, when you talk to each other, your friends, if you go to our website. On the front page of our website, we put news, so the referendum was on there,
Yeah.
the explanatory text,
Right.
that was right on the front page.
No, I know.
And then what
That's
she's referring to as far as minutes, when you look at that front page of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
website, it says agendas and minutes.
Yeah, I did that, yeah.
Yeah, you click on that.
But my point is like, you have to know when something's come up important that you wanna hear about ahead of time, not
Right.
after you read the minutes. And,
No, I get what you're saying.
The agendas are there as well,
pardon me?
the agendas are posted
Yeah,
as well.
I got
So
that.
you know,
Good
but I
look at
think
it.
if you can.
I know.
Look and see,
I-
oh, I'm not interested,
Yeah,
but, you know, we do put it on the main page of our website.
right, no, that's, I understand.
Okay.
And most people can do that, and it's not a problem. Point is like I said, there's so much going on, like sometimes you don't think to do that, and, you know.
Hmm.
Like I said, a phone call could have been, I don't know, possible maybe, I don't know. But you say no, you can't use the emergency system for that, I understand.
You can't advocate. So
No.
I can't say, you gotta come out and vote, yes, on a robo.
No, but even just to say, hey, we're gonna have a meeting about this $25 million referendum. Come down to the next meeting and hear what it's about. Something like that. I'm not saying to advocate for it or against it. I'm just saying like. An alert for the people to know there was something important coming up to vote on. And again, it is what it is. And I got to personally tell you that I was looking to have the mill rate, you know, reduced a little bit somehow. And we've all been, you know, in this town, and you know, our taxes are just sky high. And
So are you aware that the mill rate has gone down progressively for like, the last 10 years?
minor, right? Like how much?
Start from 49 to 39.
Okay.
Now, having said that, the problem in Naugatuck and in many towns is that the real property values, residential real property values are rising much more than commercial and industrial properties. So when the mill rate goes down, commercial businesses and industry pay less.
Right.
But residencies still pay more
Right.
if your value has increased in a manner disproportionate to the rest.
Sure.
So that's the real problem is the massive increase in real estate values, especially multifamilies, condos, things like that, have gone up over 100%. That's the problem, is that when you get revalued higher, for residential and the commercial, say, go up 10% and residential goes up 70%, it shifts the burden to the residents.
Right.
That's the biggest problem. And the second biggest problem is that in education, the state has not properly funded education. They stopped 13 years ago giving more money to the town. So 13 years ago, Naugatuck received $29,211,000 for education from the state. Same number 13 years in a row. So all those increases in costs were sent to the property owners. So, and that's a statewide problem. Now that when I mentioned tonight that 1.4 million and 400,000, that's the state's reaction to that problem. We were up there lobbying for more money from the state for education, and we got something. Well, what we've got is a drop in the bucket compared to how much things have gone up in the last 12 years. So that's a problem. Special education is a problem. Like we have, I'm gonna say, I don't even want to, I'll say we probably have 15 cases or more that cost 150,000 per student in our education system. And what happens is last year, 4 people moved to Naugatuck after the budget was adopted, that had special education students. So right there, plus $600,000. Those are hard hits. And those are the things that we struggle with.
All right.
But I'm just giving you the
Yeah,
facts.
yeah, no, I know, I got you, yeah, no.
But I totally agree that it's very difficult to get the word out on any issue.
Right. All right, well, thank you for your time and you explained things well and hopefully,
Well, I'm glad you came.
yeah, all right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there any further public comment? Jim? All right, let's go to Kyle Kelly and the report from the Naugatuck Ambulance Corps.
Good evening, everyone. I will make it fairly quick. I sent up my report. I think I sent it out this morning or late last night. I apologize. We are busier up over what we did last year. A couple of things to note as our total calls of service, 425 calls last month, with 29 of those being mutual aid. Going out of town to some surrounding communities. We just brought on a handful of new providers, both paramedics and EMTs, to help better cover the calls. We are, last month I had mentioned about blood products. We are moving forward with that with Yukon Health Waterbury Hospital. We are on track for sometime in June to roll that out. We are in the process of getting all of our ALS, our paramedics, trained in that program. That'll bring we'll have blood products in Naugatuck should we need them, or should a nearing community need them to help care for and stabilize the patient, help get them to the hospital. We've got a couple grants out there, one through Saunders Foundation, one through Ion Bank, on some really important things that I hope we get to help better care for our patients. And we just received a grant from our workers' comp company to add some ballistic protection to the ambulances. God forbid we ever need to utilize those in town. So we're working on getting some folks trained to be able to provide some more training in house, and that's what we're doing.
All right, questions for Kyle? Your record,
I always have something to say about Naugatuck ambulance.
proceed.
People need to know that Naugatuck ambulance is truly setting the bar for other ambulance services. It's being so progressive right now and getting things that other ambulances don't have. And like you said, with in conjunction with Waterbury Hospital and Yukon Health. You may notice a word in his report that you don't know, which is capnography. It allows an EMT to measure the amount of carbon dioxide in a person's breath when they exhale. Assessment is big time. It's very important. When you walk into a room and you see somebody there that's ill, you've got 30 seconds, maybe 45, to try and pin down exactly what's going on with that person. Sometimes instead of saying, I think it's this, you're ruling out that, you're ruling out this, you're ruling out that, and saying, okay, what's left? And then you're treating the person exactly as they should be treated. We're also carrying fentanyl and ketamine, things that other ambulance services don't have yet. You mentioned there's going to be blood products. It's just so important because, I mean, the normal person doesn't know the difference between a myocardial infarction and a cardiovascular attack. That EMT better, and they do. We have very well trained people on this ambulance, and you really should feel very safe when an ambulance shows up. It's people that know what they're doing and can help you, and that's what they want to do. That's it.
Thank you. Oh, Kyle, when you mentioned the Saunders Trust Fund, you made me think that there's a new fund very similar to that that's coming from the closure of Waterbury Hospital. And it's only going to be used for certain medical related situations, and I'm sure you will qualify. So I'd like you to stop by so we can get you in tune with those, because there could be annual grants that you, or even not even grants, payments, outright payments to you that you're eligible for.
Absolutely, I'll come by. I've been trying to keep my ear to that. I've noticed that over the last few months in that discussion. Something I want to mention also, real quick, that Naugatuck Ambulance has never, ever, ever done is we've never been able to bring on a paramedic that's brand spanking new out of class, because we were never set up to be able to precept that person and get them ready for the road. It takes 2, 3, sometimes 4 months to do that. And it takes people to help guide these new paramedics, and we're going to be able to do that very soon. We have another person in June that will likely start that process. She actually came to us brand spanking new just over 4 years ago as a brand spanking new EMT. She just graduated paramedic school. She's taking her test this week, and she'll be the first one to be able to go through that program that we're just finishing up developing. So another little milestone for us.
All right, last call from Kyle. All right, thank you, Kyle. All right, we will now proceed to downtown enhancements. And let's start with Paul Mucko. Come up and give us an update on the trusts and related matters.
Also,
You have a picture to show us?
I do not.
Okay.
So everything is the way that it was last time as far as the design layout. I did get a simplified proof from the manufacturer, which is forward with, because we want to make sure things are in line for 4th of July. The good news is though that has been handed over to the town internally, who will be going through mock-ups and the internal process to get those things signed off on and started. But yeah, we're making pace to have all 3 of those in the road in time for July, which I'm super excited about. So,
It's awesome.
yeah.
Oh, I have a picture on my phone. Do you want me to pass it around?
Yeah, definitely want to do that. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. Glad we're ready to get into that timeline for sure.
So what we have here is a simplified version that's suitable for stamping into the asphalt in the road, correct?
Exactly. So with the way that it works, with the product, like having to cut out those pieces with she's leaving some pieces by hand. Because we're showing 4 things here instead of 1 thing essentially, which the other 2 pieces were. You know, they're much smaller pieces of artwork, so they had to be simplified a little bit more. But yeah, they're still very obviously the buildings have been moved. So, yeah, really happy that they were able to get that level of detail. So many different things.
Are we still on schedule for July 4th?
Yep.
Sorry.
More readable.
Yeah, exactly. Especially from a distance and stuff too. And the cool thing is when we do the boards that will have the information about them, we can still use the more detailed versions on that. So people will still be able to see the full artwork, and obviously it's simplified because of the manufacturing process. It'll work well.
And there'll be a kiosk that'll explain Stanford right and the whole story.
Yep, exactly. Same thing with the tunnel house and the station.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Any questions right there?
Done a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. Excited.
That's good.
Thank you. Cool. All right. Thank you guys.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, so on our parking subcommittee, are you, would you like to speak there?
Julie and I met. We are speaking to business owners in the downtown area. So we made a list. We're gonna divide and conquer. We have a document. We're collecting feedback. I think some of the things we're collecting feedback on are just kind of any thoughts on like the current parking situation generally. Like where do your employees park? Like where do you tell them to park? Where do they park? What are your thoughts on a metered system?
Yeah.
With the first 2 hours free. And then, yeah, the conversation, I've talked to a couple people, conversations just kind of morphed. Anything?
Oh, did you look at the app yet?
No, I didn't know
We'd
that.
like to stop by, we have a lot of literature on it.
Oh, sure, I didn't know that we didn't know that.
And by the way, you can make it do whatever you want. So, for example, you could say, at Nardelli's, you could have 6 spots right in front for 15-minute parking. You could have half hour over here, an hour over here,
Sure,
you know, charge more over here,
sure.
longer term. You can tailor it so fit any situation.
Sure.
Who is that provider?
You know, I'll show, it's the one, I'm gonna say that, most bigger towns are using it.
Okay.
It's very popular. It's the most popular one. And I don't mean just in Connecticut, nationally.
Yeah.
I
I think
think,
I know what you're talking about.
I think some things that have come up that even I kind of failed to realize that, there are people living downtown as well, separate from this project. So there are, apartments on the street. So where are those people parking?
They're gonna park in their designated spots.
Correct. I mean, there's a lot of things that should be happening, a particular way, but we're kind of getting like honesty as well. So I think employee parking, for yeah, that's a big one. So I think something that came up that I talked about with a few people was, is there a designated parking area for downtown employees? Is there a lot specifically where we say employees park here? It's just something that's been brought up.
Let's just say right now, before the apartments, right?
Yeah.
Firehouse Road
Yep.
is a much better spot for employees to park
Yeah.
on Church Street.
I think a lot of people say that they tell their employees to park there, but it's just hard to follow up with.
I was gonna say.
And then, there's one more thing too. A lot of people commented on the fact that that the bank parking lot is closed after a certain hour.
Bank will get very upset if someone has their
Correct.
long period of time.
I'm not saying it as a
You go
derogatory thing.
in and go
Yeah.
over to the lower door.
Right.
I think it's fun.
I think I'm just bringing it up as something that's noted by people, whether the reasoning behind it or not, but I think a lot of the business owners see that as a missed opportunity, that it's a big parking lot
Okay,
that the gate
just like
closed.
when the gentleman raised in public
The
comment,
Church Street
it's
gate.
difficult to get the word out.
Yeah.
You
You just-
tell people and they don't get it.
To park too, and I noticed a few people use it as a commuter parking. You know, as far as meeting other people, you know, I saw these ladies like dropped off
buses
3 cars.
park.
Yeah,
So I mean, they won't be able to do that as soon as.
and you know that's long term, you know.
And let me say this, you won't get it perfect the first time, but on this app, you can adjust it. So you know, you start off with logic and common sense, you tweak it, you adjust it, and eventually it'll be very workable.
I think that messaging is key. I think the few people that I've talked to so far have been very vocally against any kind of metered parking. So I've just been trying to be offer information, offer the rationale behind, and just kind of be neutral and gathered in and say these would be the benefits. But most people that I've talked to already have been very vocally against it. So I think that education piece or the tweaking, that's key. And so I think they feel good that they're being included. Everyone that I've talked to have been like, oh wow, you're actually talking to me about it. You're actually asking what my input is. So that's, I think us reaching out has been helpful.
I mean, we've had free parking forever, so.
Yeah.
I mean, you go anywhere else and it's, you know, there's meters everywhere or like a centralized meter, you know, whatever.
I still have more work to do though. I've only talked to like 3 businesses and we have like 10 more.
Once you
So
come in and get the app,
sure,
play around
you
with
can come
it.
in.
Right. Besides, so, since our last meeting, we met and we approved 14 facades, in downtown.
Yeah, that's great.
So,
We're all very thankful because,
right, so that will, you know, I'll say in the next few months, that should start, you know, to be built and, so for me, yes, I can. For, anyone who doesn't know, we have a facade improvement program where, anyone, within certain areas, but mostly Church Street, Maple Street, Rubber Avenue, there are a few other spots, a little bit of Maple Street, are eligible for grants where the town gives you, 50% of your facade cost up to $50,000. So it's to incentivize upgrades to existing buildings in the downtown area. And it may be extended beyond the downtown area in the future. But right now, we've received 16 applications, 14 are approved, and 2 are being tweaked a little and will be approved.
There may be 2 more as well. I've had a few conversations. Your new secretary is going to help translate in Portuguese for a building owner. There was, yeah, so maybe there'll be 2 more.
Great. All right, murals. So the first mural will be behind the old Salem Theater, whatever we call it now. And we all looked at it. Dorothy, did you come in and look? I left it in the mayor's office. Still there.
Okay.
Okay. Pretty sure.
I talked to Francis about it,
Okay.
and she showed me the schematic of what they went from the trestle where they were going to put it. They moved to a much larger place, so they had to make enhancements to it. And as we stated, the picture, but it pretty much has the same concept of what we all agreed on in the committee. So.
All right, so, and then also, we're gonna have various groups working behind our new parking lot, behind the loaded goat and the hub. And that alleyway and some of the walls back there are gonna be upgraded. And we'll also be painting the planters. You know, a lot of people don't like the color of the planters, so we will be working on that. And there will be some more amenities and upgrades and just gonna continue to make downtown as nice as we can on an incremental basis.
We just need to make sure with planters that it follows the theme of the town for each location.
Yeah.
So you'll have it pressed up around, you know, the compatibility and we, and it, so make sure it doesn't look out of sorts.
You know it and you see it. Right, or there can.
I'll tell you. I know where that came from, I'm not gonna say, but
All right,
I have a book that tells me where everything is.
all right.
Yeah.
Anyone have any comment on downtown and Denison? All right, we will now proceed. So who wants to lead the discussion on the vacant lot?
I can. This motorcycle will go by me. Yeah, so we received a draft this afternoon from our attorneys on an ordinance for vape stores in our town. And so I just want to remind everybody, like, to zoom out. The goal of this, right, is to eliminate a lot of the illegal activity that is especially targeting minors in town. So it's illegal to sell a vape to anyone that's under 21. Yet that is still happening, especially at these places on River Avenue that are right by the high school and others. It's illegal to sell unlicensed cannabis products at vape stores, which is happening. Again, near the high school, on places in River Avenue, on other places. And so we would like to crack down on that, make it more challenging for that to happen. And so this is very similar to the massage parlor ordinance that we just did. So I will
Well, let's have Attorney Fitzpatrick and Chief McAllister too, which you both weigh in on this.
Chief.
Yeah, just a little bit of the background on this. So we do usually quarterly, not biannual enforcement efforts on our various establishments that sell vape products. We do routinely find unauthorized THC products in those stores as well. Fortunately, we do need to work with the Department of Consumer Affairs to do these enforcements. They've been very accommodating, taking it out probably as much as we'd like. Also, our ability to enforce at the local level any violations can be difficult. We're limited in our options. So a local ordinance would allow us to levy fines or possibly cite those businesses. So I think that's the goal of what we're working towards with these this particular ordinance.
Thank you, Chief. So, good evening, everyone. As Burgess Kimball mentioned, the Chief also articulated that purpose of the ordinance is to regulate and control these various operations. I think, as I recall, we were first alerted to try to help draft a solution to this dilemma. I think there were maybe, 9 vape shops, and now there's probably 16. So over a few months, there seems to be quite a bit of proliferation in this area. And Burgess Kimball has been very much energized over this issue, and she's provided a lot of good research and good comment about the process. So the purpose of it is to adopt an ordinance that is going to regulate these entities. And it will also, as the chief mentioned, give the chief some authority, regulatory authority, if there's a violation of this licensing provision. So it in essence requires any vape shop, anybody who supplies any vape merchandise, as defined in the ordinance, the requirement to 60-day requirement to register. I mean, after we partially been passed. There are steps. There are application requirements. There that is going to be made through the police department. The chief has been very helpful in sort of framing what the difficulties are
this whole area and the enforcement. It is an enforcement difficulty. It's pretty well known to everybody here. All these looking around, it's blocked quite a bit. So, but the chief would have significant responsibility in the enforcement part. We have suggested that, and we'll have more discussion with the chief and Caitlin and about what the fines would be if there's a violation. We have suggested to staff $1,000 fine for a first violation, and that would include if someone doesn't register within in 30 days of this being published and approved. So, and the second time would be a $2,000 fine and or a suspension by the chief. The third time was with 3 strikes, you're out of policy, and your license gets revoked. And so that this ordinance would address that part piece of the regulatory picture. We are simultaneously with this drafting, our office is drafting the set of zoning regulations to govern things like signage, locations of signage, lighting, flashing lights type issue. It seems to drive everybody crazy. By the way, they're already a violation of our zoning ordinance as they exist. Again, enforcement on that side is also an issue. So we're drafting an ordinance. I'm sorry, we're trying to comment with this ordinance. We're drafting zoning regulations, which will regulate those matters as well as distances. So the legislature doesn't. Someone asked me before, can we just ban them? I would suggest that we don't. And a lot of cities haven't. A lot of their legal counsel interpretation seems to be that the legislature hasn't said that the municipality has that authority. They said we can regulate, they didn't say we can ban. So we want to do something that is enforceable and is something we can win if we're attacked. So we regulate it as opposed to banning, at least at this point. If the legislature seems to think that this is a serious enough issue, then they can ban it if they want to.
But this would be the same as cigarettes or liquor or.
Pretty much, but they're regulated by IC, but they have Department of Liquor Control, like cigar bars and cigarettes and the whole liquor industry. That's regulated by Department of Liquor Control. These are not regulated by, which is not part of the Department of Consumer Protection. This is more regulated locally, and the legislature has given authority under your general health, public health, safety, and welfare provisions to do this. It's clearly been a need, a societal need. I think there's been findings everywhere, and these these ordinances are, I mean, they're being drafted all around the state, and not just in Connecticut, everywhere, to try to get local handle on this proliferation of these vape shops and the products. And again, what you see here is a draft. If this is the board sees fit to have set public hearing on this, there'll probably be some changes in some of these things, and even based on what the public hearing is or further information in communities like Darien, Westport, West Hartford, Norwalk, have all adopted various types of ordinances. Some are very comprehensive, some are less comprehensive. Ours is, we would say, we're probably in the 90th percentile in terms of the comprehensiveness of our ordinance. Is pretty thorough. So I think Burgess Kimball's guidance here and suggestions, I think the chiefs, I think we put together a package here that is, I think it's enforceable as a matter of law, and hopefully it'll work, and it may need a little tweaking, but we're open to those suggestions. So,
is there any reason not to proceed to a public hearing next month?
I don't think so.
We can always tweak it after the
Yeah.
public comment.
that's correct.
All right, so Nancy, would you put this on the agenda for next month? Start the public hearing process.
I appreciate the help. It's great. It's like, what kind of town do we want to be, right? Do we want to be the town that like encourages this stuff and puts our kids at risk? No. So I think this is good.
The only thing I wanted to add to was also one of the reasons that having that application process is necessary. We find there's a lot of shell games with these companies, LLCs being transferred, absentee business owners, we don't do the enforcement, we're like, all right, well, where's a business owner? Call it on my cell phone, out of state or something, so we really need to know who's behind the establishments, lines of not necessarily locally owned and operated, an employee on site, not present to even plainly acknowledge of what's being sold. So having a little bit more of a comprehensive application process affects us.
Discuss with Attorney Fitzpatrick and let's make it as tight as we can.
Right.
Thank you.
One last point, Mr. Mayor, and everybody, the planning commission has recommended adoption of a set of draft zoning regulations, which they will send to the zoning commission last evening. So it is really we're simultaneous basis with the zoning commission. I'm not sure we'll get to go first, but we'll be close.
All right. Any questions? All right, thank you. Senior Center update. Tim, is there anything you'd like to bring up?
Just that, we continue to see more activities at the senior center. This week, Dr. Derby, the tiramisu making class, and I think there's a craft class on at the same time in one of the other rooms.
They're having an actual craft expo, I think, that they're saying.
Right, right.
So crafts too.
They're utilizing every bit of the space that they can to show that we can expand these programs. And the reaction from the folks that are there is just completely positive. They really like their senior center and they love seeing more stimulating activities and frankly more activities, period.
Well, actually, this morning we had our walking club and two new ladies joining the senior center in the walking club. So there's 4 people coming in and coming part of the senior center too.
Are you the leader of the?
I'm the leader of the walking club, yes, I am.
Great.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, are you seeing an increase in membership now that there's been a change? Are you pulling anybody back from Prospect?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
People from Prospect, I know people that go to Prospect and they say, oh, I'm interested in this class or that class.
Okay.
So, and to take a class, you need to be a member. But I don't wanna overstate and say,
Yeah, I get it.
pulling them back from Prospect, that would be a big statement to that. We're not,
I don't think we're in there.
we're not the same program, not the same facility.
I mean, their membership was a lot more too.
Yeah,
Ours
Right.
was $5.
Right, $5.
any new membership is good, so.
Yeah, we had 2 ladies this morning.
Yep.
Nice. Talked to us and joined, and I think they signed up for other activities too, so I see. Yeah, that's good.
All right, thank you. Hold on, let's see if it put. Thank you. So let's go back to item 10. So, this is with regard to our
Do this thing.
downtown branding. And trying to get the word out about what's going on, what's available, sort of related in a way to what was said at the very beginning, spreading the word. So as you recall, we put money in the budget to do this. We will be looking at some possible things that can be done. We have just happen to have a branding expert in the room. Well, we'll get some ideas and come back to the board with some concepts and plans. And remember that we're gonna kickstart this and get it going and build on it, every year. But time to start is now, so we'll start it in next year's budget. Any questions? All right, artificial intelligence policy. Jim, is there anything you'd like to bring up?
Yes, so I met with Jose and Julie, in April.
I brought them 3 or 4 different drafts from around the state, from Knox Valley Cog, from the state of Connecticut, from Region 5. And we had a pretty good discussion where we think we want to go with it. Specifically on definitions is one of the areas that we want to make sure that we're pretty detailed on. I am taking those notes from our discussions and seeing if I can kind of put together what I think might be a good first pass. That's something for not and then we'll send it out to them for review. We'll then meet, discuss it some more. So that when we bring something before the board, we feel it's pretty solid. We don't have to make any adjustments on the back. So that's kind of a quick update here.
Or are there any resources that you need, attorney help or anything?
Not yet.
Good. What you do was tell me.
Okay.
All right, so no action required there. All right, let's go to item 13.
Motion of the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorized mayor has to execute all contracts and related documents for the proposed purchase of 151 Elm Street based on a report from the planning commission pursuant to section 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes.
Second.
All right, so we've already done this, but I guess what this is that we have received an 828 from planning, right?
The 8-24 approval was received last night for that one in here next to the Hershey properties.
So
Last night.
Understood, but we've already voted to. We voted again, and we've
I
already
think you voted
voted.
to send it. That's what they
No,
call it.
well, no, we voted to purchase it before we sent it to them. We'll do it again.
Oh, they need
All right, any. Whether it's necessary or not, it can't hurt to do it, so, any questions on item 15? Although.
13.
Was that you know? Yeah. Item 13. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Very resounding. All those opposed?
Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorized mayor has to execute all contracts and related documents for the proposed purchase of 889 New Haven Road based on a report from the planning commission pursuant to section 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes.
Second motion.
All right, same discussion. For those in the audience, that's the former Hershey property. We've received a grant to assess it, which we've done, and to remediate it in the amount of $4 million. So we'll be acquiring it, remediating it, and reselling it. And that's been authorized by the plan. And I'll just note for the record, it's been discussed in about 8 previous meetings. But if there are any questions or comments, now's the time. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion of the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorized controller Eileen A. Kanakia to refund the following tax refunds approved by tax collector James Goggin as of ready.
Any questions?
Hate to ask, but I mean, the Southwood
Gardens.
Gardens,
Yeah, what is?
Oh,
is that the, wasn't there
Okay, so,
litigation?
Southwood Gardens appealed their assessment in court and, received, I wouldn't call it a total victory, but significant relief. Now, we have, our assessor has, found a way to, blend it in a more favorable way for us. But, they were successful in their challenge because of some federal laws on how you value and assess properties that receive that much federal aid. So we're not doing this voluntarily, I'll say that. it was a full trial.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, public comment. Second call, anyone in the room or on Zoom that would like to make a public comment? Jim? No. All right, last call for public comment. All right, we will proceed to Burgess comments. And we will start with Tigger.
Things I was gonna say, I already talked about, we're meeting with the downtown businesses, working on the vape ordinance. I have done some outreach for the facade program with 2 new businesses, I won't say them, because I don't know if they're gonna do it. One question I did have is why the lights downtown aren't turned on? The ones in the parking lot?
They're not functioning properly, so we are pursuing the contractor to get it
Okay.
right. It's not, they're actually reversing true, they're oftentimes on in their daytime. So there's some electrical defects that we're working on.
Yeah, that's it. I'll report back. I'm working on a couple of things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
I don't have anything.
Dorothy.
Arts Commission, the summer series is set and the bands have been selected, so those will be starting in June, if I'm not mistaken. And they'll run out through the summer, so that we are Tuesday evening,
Same location.
same location. And the music crawl, the 6 bands were secured with the flyer is now in printing. And there's some food trucks that'll be there like later in the evening. And it should be it'll be an interesting event. So the 6 different bands, 6 different stations. We're creating a passport card where they can have it punched at each band station, and then they put their name in for a raffle at the end of the evening for some merchandise that will be purchased for the event.
Right. Why don't you mention the date just for the record?
The date is August 8th
Right.
for the music crawl.
All right, thank you. Rocky.
I have a question for Dorothy. Can you send me the list for the concerts so that I can get them on the sign?
Oh, the June list for the
Yeah.
summer stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah,
summertime series. I wanna get that sheet so that I can start to.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Rocky,
Sorry.
it's quite all right. Well, just a few things. On Sunday, April 7th, from 1 to 4 at the rec center, animal control will be running a rabies clinic.
What's your name?
It's May? Okay, I'll put it for May. May 7th. So if you have rabies or plan on getting rabies, stop by. Downtown Festival is this Saturday. And in the morning at the firehouse, they'll be selling Mother's Day flowers. They always have lovely flowers. And lastly, on Saturday, the 30th, if you see helicopters flying over, they're delivering things to Amazon's roof. So we're not being attacked with air conditioners. May drop them. That's it.
Sorry, thank you, Julie. Oh, so Bob is he still says that?
Yeah, we haven't seen Bob actually.
I have nothing this evening.
How are you feeling?
Lousy.
We'll get better.
Good. Now we all know.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. Julie.
I don't think I have anything that wasn't said tonight, mostly the city center and parking and. Adult ed, we're winding down, so don't forget to respond as far as if you're coming to graduation, you'd like to have you there.
What is the graduation date again?
28th, is that a Thursday?
And we have to RSVP?
I think the letter said that.
Okay.
Yeah, they like to, so they can arrange like where that specific seat is.
Yeah.
Cause it won't be. on the
We're
stage.
putting, we're actually putting our ESL students on stage and then.
That makes sense.
Else on the sides. We might be able to, yeah.
I would like to say that without question, we have the finest adult ed program. I'll say,
We've been there
North
20
America.
26 years.
No, but it's sensational and everyone should go to that graduation.
I should
It's
have,
hard for us.
These are kids and people who made a comeback.
Yeah.
And they have moving stories.
It really
It's
is.
seriously nice.
I used to sub for adult ed when I was teaching at the high school, and then I came in the other day and did a seed activity with with the family.
I've
Also,
been going since 2011, so it's a good event.
It's great.
also we service Oxford and Woolpit, so we do get really from those two towns.
Sure.
For our students, so.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Charles Meringue.
All right, first of all, let's not forget, end of the month, we have Memorial Day. The Veterans Council worked hard to put together another fine parade. But more important than the parade is the early morning ceremonies that we will travel to each and every war memorial here in Naugatuck to honor those that gave the last full measure of devotion for their country. And that's always an important ceremony, starting usually at 5 o'clock in the morning. Sunrise.
Before sunrise.
And then immediately after, that we have a nice breakfast, but the parade is not to be taken lightly. Let's always remember those that gave their lives. Because that's what this is about. It's not about those who just served. These are the ones who gave all. And to come out and enjoy the parade is one thing, but take a moment and think about all the freedom we have and what we have in this country was paid for with a heavy price. And Memorial Day support in Naugatuck does it right. So make sure that we are involved in that. Keep staying involved in that. Keep supporting our Veterans Council. Well, excellent work that they do here in town. In addition, I do have a comment about the referendum. And this mentioned to me by a few people, a few of us that live on the east side of town. Is there any way for referendums and any kind of elections to not have it just on the west side of town at the Armory? We have Salem School now. Is there a way we could maybe make that a location for these referendums? It's more centrally located, more accessible for people coming in from out of town. And with all our improvements on Rubber Avenue, which is lovely, but it kind of bottlenecks it, so it's even more difficult to get down there to the voting. And I had a number of people who live on the east side of town who mentioned that, you know what, they didn't drive in all the way across town, inconvenient, difficult to be working on a work schedule. If there's a way we could seriously look at maybe moving it to a more centralized location for the voting downtown.
I agree.
So the answer is yes. You can do that.
We have two places.
Well,
We just want to
expense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but we can, well, certainly while it's not a school, we can use it for certain. And we will be using it for other things, but yeah, the answer is yes.
That was just an observation. Several people made that observation to me, that why is it always over there? And they'll mention at what time the train station was now a restaurant, and the senior center at one time. But it'd be nice if we do something more centrally located to make it more accessible. And to speak to the point, our gentleman who spoke at the beginning of the meeting, man, I wish we had a decent media outlet in local, and it would be really nice. I mean, WATR doesn't do local anymore like they used to. So you don't even have a radio station does that. Our newspapers, they're not holding anyone to task. They're not reporting anymore. There's no journalism out there anymore. Even social media is a wild west. If you put information out there, people can manipulate it and say what they want to say. And then you're dealing with not information, but opinions. For a democracy to work, we need a viable media that is has journalistic integrity, and it breaks my heart that we can't get the info out like we used to have that. It used to be nice to have it accessible. We're going to have to be more creative on how we find ways to get information out. Agree 100%. I think we're gonna have to think outside the box because the old ways of communication don't work anymore. papers don't exist anymore, and what you get is sadly missing information or so late in the game. It kills me. It's deliver the newspaper. I love the newspaper. It's good to read. I love reading, like the tactile feel of it. But it just doesn't get the info out anymore. And we need something better.
Is there a program like Code Red that's not really expensive that can be used for that?
Yeah, there are.
It's something worth looking into.
Yeah. Who wants to do
I don't know what the name of it is, but I know that we had it in Region 12 for announcing
the
events and stuff like that.
Any idea on the cost?
It was expensive, the startup is expensive and then it was,
And one of the big things is you have to get cell numbers.
right,
It's
you have to collect cell numbers for it to work, yes.
or emails.
Yeah,
You have to do some work to get a viable list.
right, you do.
How did you do it when the robocalls get everybody's cell number? How does that work?
Well, we have a list for robocalls, but the list is, I'm gonna say highly inaccurate. But there is a list, but robocalls, anyone that has a listed phone number is automatically on the list. And cell numbers that are registered are on the list. If you move here with a cell number that's not registered, you don't get the call.
Well,
Dan?
the information one, in my experience with it, and it's limited, but I do have some, you have to register for it. You can't collect all your numbers and put you in for information. That would be a violation of your privacy.
Okay.
So each person would have to register for it, which, that could be difficult too.
Well, chief,
I can justify that, I was involved in being a code red initially, and we're working on making some changes for next year. Currently, code red does get cell numbers, so you can get barriers, but if it doesn't involve. If you still have a traditional, just about a landline number through AT&T or Comcast, they get those numbers in. We are looking to switch our provider for red alerts. With another couple of Everbridge next year, they are able to capture much more to cell phone data. The issue with using code red for notification, that's paid by a federal grant through the state of Connecticut. Not political, 20%. COVID, not concerned more political. Not a referendum, it's kind of funny, I don't want to jeopardize the funding.
Since you're working with Everbridge, can they give a quote? Maybe they'll give us a discount.
We do have that, we're in contract with Code Red for the year.
Yeah, but maybe they have another program outside of Code Red.
Yeah, they do it, it's going to cost you. Now, the robo-dialers like the Congress person uses, that's a whole separate program, and those are really good prices, look at the Code Red, Everbridge, they're geared more for public safety, they use the really good prices.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Most have phones filter on now, it's gonna roll.
Charlie, you know what time the Elks are, where the Elks are meeting in the morning?
Oh, for the breakfast?
No, before that, for the 5 o'clock.
Sunrise, that's
Sunrise on the green.
On the green, like the last time?
Same as always, yeah.
Forget anything.
Bill?
I apologize for being late tonight. In all seriousness, I thought I was gonna be a little bit late and I turned out being a lot late. I don't really like that, but I'm especially sad that I missed your watershed announcement that we're gonna be 50-50 with the Board of Ed. I've been involved with boards of ed now for more than 40 years. I've never heard an announcement like that. And I think it's an extremely special thing. And I hope that it creates a new era of not, there's the board, and then there's the whole town. That we're all in this together. That is just, that means a lot to me. And I think in the long run, whether they know it or not, it'll mean a lot to kids. So I'm really grateful to you, Pete. That's awesome leadership.
I give a lot of credit to the team we have in place. At the Board of Ed.
It's a good one. Yep, it's a good one. It's a good one to be in partnership with. Thank you for providing water at meetings. This room sucks the moisture out of your life. And
You're a golf course.
well, I drink plenty of water there. That I do. that I have to do.
Walnuts.
Yeah, right, yeah, right. Yeah, let's bring a straw. And I have a nice referendum story, one of the folks that we were golfing with tonight was a younger person who's, been in town and is starting to raise a family and so forth. And she said, I just want to tell you something. I thought that referendum was great. And she said, I just don't understand how anybody would vote against it. Which I respect people that disagree with whatever you disagree with. But it was just very heartening to see a young person who had, found out about the referendum and really supported it. And we weren't talking about the referendum. She just wanted to tell me that because she was excited about the progress and the revitalization efforts that are happening in this community. So I'd love to hear more people that feel that way. And because it was a 3-1 vote, there are more people out there. That was a pretty strong vote for some of the negative stuff that was going around. So I did want to tell you that, because I think you should hear that. And also, good job on the Potter Stewart quote, by the way. I'm done.
All right. Rocky will go to 18.
Okay, let's do that. Motion to recess to executive session at 8:16 PM for discussion on the following. Real estate parcels A, B, C, Y, and Z, Naugatuck Industrial Park, Section 3, freight rail discussion, Energy Park Data Center, Hershey property, personnel, park superintendent, and pending litigation, no pending litigation?
No.
Inviting in, do we do that?
No.
Inviting in no one.
All right.
You like me.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's go back this way.
Hey, two.
I'm gonna reconvene the meeting at 8:46 PM.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm no